Hello friends, family and other creatures of the sea, and welcome back to a best of 7 here for the Masters Coliseum 7, as we're having a Dark versus MAXPAX series as our first one of the day. For the people unaware, there's been a big tournament going on called the Masters Coliseum 7 with a $42,000 prize pool. First prize I think is 17k, and this is the first lower bracket match, which is going to be played in a best of 7. 8 players remain in the tournament for now. It will be Dark versus MAXPAX. I've been streaming basically every single round live on my YouTube stream, as well as my Twitch stream. Every day live at noon Central European time. But today the internet decided to give up. Internet man cut the cable. Now he's been fixing it. Wouldn't surprise me if he charges me for him cutting the cable. But that's a story for another time. As for now, let's focus on this series. Starting on Alcyone. MAXPAX is a player that has struggled in the Protoss vs Zerg matchup for the past, well, for the very long time. It's the one matchup that he never truly seems to get a grip on. PvT, he sometimes has a period of downswing. PvP, he sometimes will lose a couple of times to all-ins. But in PvZ, I don't think there's been a period in time in the last year where he felt dominant in this matchup. Not in the same way that he has looked in PvT and in PvP. PvT for shorter periods and PvP for longer periods. Let's see how he's going to fare over here against Dark. Dark is someone with a very, well, kind of a, I'm not sure if I want to use the word creative. Unique style is perhaps the correct term to use. Dark is someone that loves just throwing curveballs again and again and again. Even if you're expecting the curveball, Dark's curveball tends to hit a little bit different. 4 more links here are on the way. This was a gold first build order coming out of Dark. As MAXPAX opening up with a Twilight Council. Did not pull out of gas, I don't believe he did. Hands in another gateway. So probably some type of DT drop is what I'm kind of feeling here, as he's adding 2 more gates. It's gonna be glaives. Okay, well that's something I hadn't quite expected. That's something I hadn't expected at all, actually. 3-gate glaive here. Okay, he has pulled out of gas a little, actually. See, two workers in each gas. Glaives is a mineral-heavy build, with the limiting factor of this build order, always being minerals, not gas. And thus pulling out of gas as quickly as you can to gain more minerals is usually a good call. It's just going to be 3-gate total though, so this is not a very committed attack whatsoever. Curious to see if this is going to do anything at all. As Dark throws down a second extractor. It's going to go for his patented double gas Ravager Ling defense. Actually, he's getting 2 more gases. Wow, so he's going up to 3 gas here. Now, I don't think this one has been patented yet. Probably also because no one will want to play it. That's kind of rare. So he's going to be banking a lot of gas here. The way he usually plays it with 2 gas is what Dark does, is he'll get a couple of Ravagers out. He'll surround you with the links, then throw Biles on your face. I think with more gas, the likelihood of this being more all-in increases quite a bit as well. He's going to get more units, going to get more Ravagers. And against a very high adept count, which is exactly what MAXPAX is going for as he throws down 3 more gateways, I think this is just going to be great here for Dark. MAXPAX definitely going to be struggling. I don't like this position for him at all. I don't actually like this choice of build whatsoever either. Against a player that often overcommits on the defensive end against these types of glaive build orders, I think this is a mistake. But let's see how it's going to play out, as we're going to get our first 6 adept warp in a couple of seconds. That's going to bring the total amount of adepts up to, what is it, 13, 14 or so. There are 2 adepts just waiting underneath those rocks, gonna shade in towards the gold. So we have a split adept attack. These cannot finish right now. Ooh, well, they will. These 2 adepts should finish, and they will as well. Yeah, these glaive adepts are not gonna be capable of achieving anything. These 2 with good target fire might just get a bunch of workers here. RoboBay being thrown down behind all of this as well. The problem that I have with this build is that MAXPAX doesn't have a 3rd base, and he's very committed here to this adept attack. If he does not deal serious amounts of damage, he's just going to be behind. 6 gateways, that is an insane amount of commitment. And Dark, yes, he's lost a couple of workers, but losing 5 workers against a 2 base all in, that's something he's gonna sign for. He's just gonna be happy with that. We'll lose 1 roach, We'll probably clear an Adept in return, as MAXPAX takes out a couple of creep tumors. We'll cancel that Shade. Baneling Nest now on the way. Dark floating quite a bit of gas, of course, with a triple gas setup. It's to be expected. Disruptor starting as well for MAXPAX. Could potentially just be following this up with some type of 2.5 base all-in. I think he wants to take the gold as he took down those rocks. It's also possible he just wants to split off a couple of Adepts there in that direction of Dark's gold. I think his third base on this, well, his more natural position. That's exactly what's going to happen here. I love Dark's spot here. He hasn't lost a lot of workers. He has a very big army. He's outmining his opponent by a significant amount. Because of the gold base, mainly. That gold base has been brilliant here for him. +1 melee is on the way. Baneling Nest down. Glial Reconstitution, also known as Roach Speed, is on the way. And it wouldn't surprise me to see Baneling Speed, the centrifugal hook, start soon as well. And once that starts, I think Dark can pretty much just pick a timing here. You know, has a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Banelings with speed, Roaches with speed. He can just walk. Walk across the map. There's no serious splash damage here, except maybe 1 or 2 Disruptors, which is not consistent splash either. It's not great against Banelings. It's not great against players that know how to split. Dark has, well, both of these things most likely. So there's going to be Banelings, and Dark definitely knows how to micro units. 10 more drones on the way. As MAXPAX committing here to an attack. This is without blink. I think there's no way. There's absolutely no way. This cannot deal damage. The roach count is simply too high. Way, way too high. There's 10 Banes on the way. These Adepts, they all need to cancel. The creep spread is too good as well. If there were no creep tumors here, then I'd say maybe off creep, no roach speed. You can deal some damage, but that's not the case. These Adepts are now shading in. Gonna try to get a little bit of damage done. So here comes the flank with the Ravagers coming from the bottom side. Roaches running in as well. And this is an absolutely atrocious fight here for MAXPAX, who doesn't quite have blink yet. He's going to finish that Adept shade. And that potentially could get him something. At the same time, Banelings have moved back to deal with that. Baneling speed finishes up as well. And only 2 workers end up going down during this entire push. That includes the 2 Adepts that were at the gold base as well. So MAXPAX dealing no damage whatsoever. Dark keeping a large army. And now, I think this is just where Dark decides to walk across the map. And I believe he can just pick up this game number 1 here. He's up in supply, he's up in army value. He's outmining his opponent still by a significant margin. The only thing that MAXPAX has right now are Blink Stalkers that can technically kite this army a little bit, then blink back to a super battery, and the potential of some big Purification Novas. That first one is not gonna connect, I don't think so. Yep, way too far forward. Banelings here gonna hit the battery. We'll start taking out probes as well. This third base is toast, and all of those probes are gonna be toast. That's probably the more important thing. Actually, both are important. Both the third base and the probes at that third base. Dark floating an astronomical amount of money, but it won't matter, as MAXPAX is doing the exact same thing here. Both players up to 1k in the bank. The Infestation Pit goes down behind this, as Dark will be rushing into Vipers probably. But it won't be necessary, as MAXPAX is absolutely dead. 1 more Purification Nova is going to connect with 3 Roaches here. 1 more Disruptor shot, does hit something. That's going to be it for game number 1. In game number 2, as we see MAXPAX's picture on screen, will be played on Golden Aura. MAXPAX opening up with a few quick scout, wanting to block his opponent's natural. Is going to succeed at it as well, as Dark is getting the Overlord, the second Overlord. It's not going to be some type of 15 hatch. No, he wants to attempt to go for a 16 hatch. MAXPAX will end up blocking that. See some nice anime commercials here in the bottom right. Love to see it. Headset commercials. They've got it all. I think that is old Warcraft 3 pro player Sky that we just saw in the picture before. That's pretty funny. It was a Dutch documentary called, I think it was called Beyond the Game, in which Sky and Grubby faced off, and you followed both of their lives. It was my mom's introduction into esports. I was already pretty, you know, I like Warcraft 3. I like watching these good guys play. Then I went to a movie theater to watch that movie with my mom. She met a lot of Warcraft dudes, and I went, these people were pretty normal. Because back when I was a young boy, it wasn't so normal for people to be playing games the entire day. I remember growing up, people would ask me if I would get square eyes, because I would be staring at screens so much. People thought this was an actual thing that could happen, a real condition. You watch TV or computer screen too much, your eyes will become squares. That's what I thought when I was a young man. Kids these days have it easy. Most of their parents were gamers. At least, the kids of the people that are watching me. Their parents most definitely gamers. Or at least game enjoyers. The start of a long career. That was. Beyond the Game. Not the greatest movie I've seen in my life. But I guess whenever it's about a topic that you really care about, you always feel like they could have done a better job. It is what it is. Did a lot of good for me. Alright, enough about Sky and Grubby and Beyond the Game. Let's have a look here. What do we have? Adept's being chrono boosted out. Stargate is on the way. Nexus gets thrown down in the natural. All of the MAXPAX. As is the standard. Kind of resorting back to his Stargate place. Which is honestly what I had expected anyway. I think it's a good call to go for Stargate place. There's actually a couple of tricks against Dark that I think are worthwhile exploring. And one of those tricks is the fact that he loves getting a fast Roach Warren and a second gas if he believes it is a fast Glaive build. So what you can do is you just deny scouting, open up with a Warp Gate before Stargate, and your opponent will be mining way too much gas, which gas is really useless against Oracles. Because you don't need gas against Oracles. What you need against Oracles are Queens, Spores, and Drones. And none of these things cost gas. So the faster the Zerg gets gas, especially a second gas or a quick Roach Warren, that's actually really sucky for the Zerg. As these links are gonna get their speed done. Well, these links won't. The links overall will though. As a species, they will now have the metabolic boost research. Sadly, these two bad boys died before they got the metabolic boost. Might be capable of getting a little scout in towards the main base. MAXPAX supply block here, which is sloppy. That means that his second Oracle is going to be delayed a little bit. First Oracle already across the map. Let's see how many kills he's going to get, as these Adept are going to get taken out as well. Oracle's moving back, trying to save him. That won't work. Does not get any kills. His third base is now actually in danger as well. As Dark with a phenomenal start. That's a snipe on a creep tumor. There's a Spore over at that natural base that's being constructed at the third. This Nexus is in actual trouble. It's in serious trouble here. Second Oracle's gonna pop out. I think that's a cancel. I think that's... yeah, that's a cancel. A cancel on the Nexus. That means it's gonna be delayed by 30 seconds. You lose 100 minerals. That is the cancellation fee. I always felt like that the further along a building is, the larger the cancellation fee should be, right? It makes no sense that a building in which is 75% done, which then gets cancelled, gives you the same money back as a building at 25%. How does it make any sense? Explain that to me. It doesn't. All right? It just doesn't make any sense. That is the real answer here. And no one wants to talk about it. No one wants to talk about the weird cancellation policies in StarCraft 2. Is there like an insurance or something? So the moment you build something, you just pay an insurance of 100, and then when it's an early cancellation, you get that back? Like, what is the lore behind cancelling buildings? How does Blizzard try to explain this? That's what I want to know. Is this drone's gonna get sniped by that Oracle? This has been a terrible game for MAXPAX, by the way. Absolutely awful game, and it's gonna get even worse. So we have a Nidus network on the way here. Oi, 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 oi. Nidus network on the way. Let's see how that's going to perform. Is MAXPAX aware of this? The answer is no. Ooh, gets a battery in the net, though. There are 3 Oracles out, which is a huge deal. So the way you want to deal with this is very simple. You want to get cannons. Okay, it's going to go up in the main base. It's going to go up in the main base. Probes need to be pulled off the line. MAXPAX has seen it. He's sending a lot of units over. I think probes needed to be pulled off the line. Probes are not here. Stalkers, not in time either. MAXPAX is going to show up at this point. He's going to get the snipe, though. He's going to get all of these queens for free. No transfuses being used is an interesting play, which is obviously incorrect. No unit in the wall. No unit in the wall is gonna bite Max in the bum here. Absolute rookie mistake as the second Nidus goes up. There is a battery right now available in that main base. Super battery not activated quite yet. 24 army supplied at 52, but there's no SimCity you can hide behind here. Blink has finished up first. Their second Oracle goes down there. I think there's only one remaining at this point. A couple of queens have fallen. Probes in the natural fighting with the Zerglings, as the Stalker count in the main is looking solid, but lots and lots of workers here are already going down. More queens on the way to join in the fun. Is there a cannon anywhere? Yes, there's a cannon at the third base. That's a pretty big deal, because we have this position in the main mineral line. As long as all bases stay alive, MAXPAX can afford to lose a lot of workers, but he can't afford to lose a base here. He cannot afford to lose a base at the moment, and that natural is looking very low. Neonidas finishes up as these Stalkers in the main base being pushed back. MAXPAX loses the natural, and that is a serious issue. New gateways being constructed. Nexus needs to be rebuilt instantly. Super Battery now activates. As this Ling attack is going to move over. No, it's not going to move over. Knight is perhaps going to get sniped. Ling's moving in, Ling's moving out. Here comes the snipe on the Knight. There's double infestation pits going down for Dark. What is the plan here? To go straight into Infestors? No, just straight up Hive. I think that infestation pit is supposed to be an Evo or something. So he believes he's building double Evo right now. Instead it's 2 infestation pits. There's not even 2 upgrades right now in the infestation pit, because the pathogen glands research isn't necessary anymore. So double upgrading Infestors doesn't make sense. It already didn't make sense, even when it was possible. But now it definitely doesn't make sense. Supply is actually relatively even, which is funny. But there's no Nexus yet in the natural. And if we take a look at the income, we see that Dark is already ahead. Dark is adding in more drones. He's going to get further ahead. And on top of that, I don't really think MAXPAX has a timing here. Given the fact that 2 Infestors are being produced, there's a Ling count that I think is sufficient. Like, if there were 3 Archons in this army, I'd say, hey, this is good. But right now, there are 0 Archons in this army. Like, Archons really make a huge difference. Either Archons or Storm is a necessity against high Ling count, in my mind. You can't just hold that with Pure Stalker, or Pure Stalker Zealot. Especially once these Lings start getting upgraded. 10 more drones on the way. Dark does need to be careful, of course. Needs to be needs to be wary of accidentally over-droning. Adrenal glands now on the way. Once that finishes, gateway units will just get eaten alive. Absolutely eaten alive. Stalker count is high. 52 army supply to 51. That is 1 dodge there. 1 more fungal is available. Adrenal glands still quite a bit away from finishing up. Once again, once that finishes, that is a game changer. MAXPAX has a timing until then. He has the ability to perhaps do something. But he's just going to start moving back home. Dark's going to use that opportunity, build 5 Overlords at the same time, then probably go into another round of drones. Then his Ultras will be out. MAXPAX stacking into a Robo Bay, which is probably the worst tech structure he can get currently. Colossus extremely bad against everything that's going to be important in this game. They're going to suck against Ultras, they're going to suck against Banelings. They're not going to be great against Vipers either. They're okay against Lings, if you have enough Colossus, but by the time that MAXPAX has 3 Colossus with Thermal Lance, there's going to be 15 Ultras on the map. And Creep will be touching his natural. So I feel like there's going to be too little. As Dark moves up to 85 workers. Taking a couple of extra gases. Going up to 8. Chitinous plating on the way as well. As the Zealot War Prism is now going to move in over here. I mean, MAXPAX just in a terrible economical position. MAXPAX in a terrible tech position. MAXPAX doesn't have a wall on this third base either, which is just a mistake. He's in a rough spot. And all of that started with a Nidus. Well, actually, the Nidus did get dealt with somewhat okay. The real problem here was the fact that there was no unit on hold position in the natural. If he has a Stalker on hold in the natural, I think MAXPAX just wins this game. Or at least takes a very significant lead. Because that third base felt pretty safe. The second Nidus would have just gotten sniped by the Stalkers. So now these Stalkers were being attacked by the Lings. And thus the Nidus went up. Otherwise, the third Nidus would need to go up outside of the third base. There are still 3 Oracles available. Like, honestly, this felt good. It felt really, really good. Or maybe 2 Oracles were available. It felt really good for MAXPAX. And now it feels bad for him. He's going to get double upgrade, so he's going to keep up when it comes to that. Is this a proper full wall? No. It's an okay force field. That's a good second force field. Blocking that in. I wonder what's in the Nidus. This is a good wall as well. Love that wall. I give this wall 5 stars. Absolutely high tier wall. Spire now gets constructed. We're gonna get a big fungal growth on that prism. And 4 more Templar are gonna get warped in. Double Stargate? That feels early. Too early almost. I think one of the key things that we really want at the moment, in my mind, is a high immortal count. I think key is a high immortal count. 5, 6 immortals, storm, good upgrades on these ground units. I love that wall at the fort, by the way. That is such a good wall. I hadn't actually seen it like that before. That might even allow you to take a 5th base, which can be quite difficult on this map usually. Take on the far right side. Kind of the 3 o'clock-ish location. Feels okay. These others are going to get caught by the links. Are we actually going to go into a late game here? If MAXPAX manages to drag this into a late game. I mean, I'm not saying that the game resets, because I still believe that Dark is in a significantly better position. But the gas count for Dark isn't so high. He still needs to get rid of his current army. 2 2 locusts get popped out of the swarm host. Yeah, these Colossus are useless. They're not going to achieve anything this game. He invested a little over 700 gas into that, including the thermal lens, of course. And that's not even including the Robo-Bay. Like, he actually invested somewhere. What's it? 850 gas into that. And it's not going to achieve anything for him, which is really expensive. It's very, very expensive. We're getting the +1 on the air weapons upgrade as well. As triple carriers now start. I think this is a mistake. Carriers slow down the game from the Protoss side of things. And I think MAXPAX, as a result, is never going to get control of this game, of the map. Taking a 5th base will be hard. He's just full-on camping here, which is a mistake. Yeah. I think when you're maxed out with Storm and you have the upgrades that he has, I believe you're allowed to be on the map as a Protoss player. You just get some Templar at every base, make sure that Baneling run-bys can't kill you. And then all you really need to do is split up your army and you can start taking out creep. I think that is the way forward. And MAXPAX here says, no, I want to just rush out these carriers. That means he's basically going to be going for a carrier all-in here, because he can't really play a macro game. I also truly believe that this is the wrong 5th base. If he walled the way that he walls. Like, this is not defendable. He needs to break open something at this point. He's not quite doing that yet. These Vipers were very vulnerable. Not going to get sniped. 7 Corruptors on the way. I wonder if they're actually going to morph into Broodlords or what the plan is going to be. I can't believe we're accidentally moving into a bit of a late game here, though. That is kind of wild. Very wild, even. Kind of sick. Sick and twisted mind. This Dark. Bunch of Banelings being morphed. 40 all at once. This Locust actually triggering 2 Stasis Ores is kind of a big deal. Could have done it with a Link, but this looks way cooler. Here comes the Bane attack. That bang bang, you're dead. I think at least. Adios, Mr. Nexus. Right, yeah, there we go. Nexus gets taken out. That's a mineral versus gas trade. It's not a great trade for Dark. Stalker count a little bit too high in this army for my taste. Colossus count definitely too high, because right now you want to be having 0. And there are 3 out, so that's 3 too many. I wonder if Dark's actually going to build Broodlord. He's saving some supply right now. Yeah, okay, he's going to go Ultras. I'm not sure if he knows what he wants to do yet. He's kind of debating, I think. He was debating for sure. I think he saw that Stalker Colossus army still and thinks to himself, well, do I really need to transition into Brutes right now? Is that absolutely key? And Dark decides no, and I agree with him there. I don't think it is key for Dark to go into Brutes yet. Actually, I think he'd give away a bit of map control if he were to go for Brutes. It's a nice Nidus is going to spot a potential 6th base, I guess. I wonder why there's so many corruptors. Feels like a waste. Guess we're gonna... Oh, but actually now there's a bunch of carriers. I forgot about that. Yeah, immortal count is too low here. It's simply too low. These ultras are staying alive for way too long. As the corruptors go in, we'll take out another Colossus as well. Carriers, I think, are in serious trouble too. And that means that MAXPAX is gonna be taking a pretty bad fight, in which Dark gets to trade out all the units he wants to trade out. He's gonna clear a lot of the corruptors. 8 workers go down on the Protoss side. Protoss does have a lot of gas. A lot of gas here. And that's a crap ton of corruptors that went down. There's 11 ultras now start. 9, 10 Templar. That could potentially be 5 Archons if he's gonna morph all of them. He's gonna morph 4. I still believe that extra Immortals is going to be a key component here for MAXPAX if he wants to win a future fight. Of course, he doesn't know that it's pure Ultras in production currently, but that's just what's happening. And if that's what's happening, you need to respond to it by getting Immortal. You can't just continue building Archon Carrier, because that's not so great against Ultras. Bigling run by is going to hit this bottom side base. Mothership recalls defensively. We get a zoning storm. Time warp and invisibility sends everything at the same time. And saw that there are still a bunch of Ultras at least, and it has currently, I think this has 0 Immortals. Yeah, 0 Immortals. I really think he needs 3, 4, 5 extra Immortals here. Maybe even... usually the rule that I use against Ultras is that you just want to match your opponent's Ultra count in the Immortals +1. That's what I do most of the time. If they have 10 Ultras, you go for 11 Immortals, and then you should be fine. Carrier's not really under attack. This is just a pure Ultra army. As these carriers are trying to clear Queens, it's not going too quick. MAXPAX in some serious trouble as he's losing a lot of this. Corruptors in the back dealing damage as well. Carrier should have +3 upgrades. No, just +2 for now. But yeah, Dark with some absolutely phenomenal trades. He's gonna probably try and take out that 5th base, and most likely is also going to succeed at taking out that 5th base, which is a big deal. Is he sending more across the map right now? Ultras coming in from a flank. I'm not sure if that's for the base or for the main army. I think that was to try and flank the main army. It's so hard to break this position. MAXPAX with a full wall here on 4 bases. Probably knows that this game is not looking too good. I mean, if he doesn't know right now that the game isn't looking too good, then there's something wrong with his game sense, because this game is looking god-awful at this moment. It truly is. Nidus Network under attack by that Zealot. But it's 4 base versus a lot of base. And in those cases, usually the lot of base player ends up winning in this matchup. Gateway's gonna get targeted down. MAXPAX wants to go for a move out. Is that even possible? I don't know. I think he just has a single robotics facility, so not enough Immortals. There are no Brood Lords still. We have, I think, a couple of Infestors maybe. Haven't seen them in a while, but there's Neural Parasite available if they ever do end up showing up again. And I honestly think they should. I think against Carriers, Vipers and Infestors are key. Ultras are strong, but you need something, you know? Infestors, you take them over. Vipers, you can grab them. I think it would be good. I mean, MAXPAX is just sitting here, and he's gonna probably try to max out. The thing, though, is even if maxes out, he's still gonna need to take a good fight. And then he's gonna need to take another fight. It's not gonna be a full max out for Dark behind this, but he has, you know, half his army in the bank. I bet he has loads of larvae, or at least enough larvae available, as he's on like 8 hatches. 6, 8, yeah, exactly 8. Corruptors coming on from an alternative angle. Here comes perhaps an aggressive recall. Needs to go for a defensive recall as well at some point, though. Can't just go aggressive. This is real scary. I wonder what the Immortal count is. Answer's probably not high enough. We're gonna need at least 7 to deal with this army somewhat efficiently. I don't think there's any in this particular force. Link run by, just like earlier on in the game. Potentially devastating. Super battery, are you being used? I don't see it. I do see invisibility, as Corruptors are being targeted down. Not enough Immortals to clear these Ultras. MAXPAX loses a bunch of workers, loses a lot of supply, and that means that Dark is up in supply, up in workers, and honestly up in army composition as well. I do not like MAXPAX's army comp at all. He doesn't have anything to keep his Templar safe on the ground. Not enough Archons, not enough Immortals. His Nidus is going to go up. He doesn't have a 5th base. 25 more Corruptors are on the way. And I think at this point you can just fly in with Corruptor Viper. Parasitic Bomb a couple of these Voids. Parasitic Bomb the Mothership. Then get in there. And pretty much just straight up win the game. These are the units lost. I think I saw 360 Lings dead. Actually wonder how many carriers have fallen as well. I think it's a pretty decent amount. That's all I'm gonna say. MAXPAX right now mining practically from a single base when it comes to the mineral income. Trying to get a 5th. I mean, this is almost silly at this point. If MAXPAX is capable of winning this game, then perhaps Protoss is simply too strong versus Zerg. Because he's been getting outplayed this entire time, from start to finish. He's had no say in the outcome of this game. He was following orders. Aggressive hatch gets taken. Oh, here we go. Potentially some damage. Potentially. Dark is looking for a fight. Here come the Ultras. Gonna force away the Templar. That's a key move. Once again, there are no Immortals here. Blink forward. Doesn't get any big snipes. I think the answer there was no. Here we go. Starts... oh my god, that's a huge Parasitic Bomb. Interceptor's gonna be dying at a very high pace. The Interceptors are fighting within the Parasitic Bomb. Corruptors taking out carriers as well. And I think that is just going to be it. With still a large bank. Dark goes back up to 170 supply. MAXPAX GG's out. And Dark takes the lead 2-0. That was a very frustrating game to watch. And I bet it was an even more frustrating game to play. That's the thing with... it often feels like it's the case in these PvZ games, where if the Zerg gets like a momentum in the early game, which in this case happened with that Nidus, it often feels very difficult to get that momentum back, right? Like, you're gonna need a Prism, you're gonna need Zealot run-bys. The thing is that Zealot run-bys and Prisms are much better if you're in control of the map. They're also a tool to try and get control back of the map, right? Because you're attacking in multiple places. But it's harder to do because there's a much larger warning window for the Zerg if they have more creep, if they have complete vision with Overlords and links spread around, which is so easy to set up for Zerg. So this felt very frustrating for MAXPAX, I can absolutely assure you that. So he opens up with a Void Ray into an Oracle. And I'm not sure what I'm even hoping to see here out of him. I just kind of want to see a quick Storm Rush. I think it is... I feel like I'm sounding like a broken record here, but I really believe that Storm is the most insane investment with almost instant payoff the moment it finishes, and just insane returns on that initial investment as well. Storm are the index funds of StarCraft 2, of the PvZ matchup. It really is true. It's always good, you know? It just works. Historically it has worked. It will work in the future. Like with Storm, you just have a spell that is sick and it deals good damage. It's insane against Lings. It's useful against Banes. It is not great against Roaches, but Roaches have a natural fall-off timing anyway. And in very large amounts of Roaches versus very large amount of Roaches, yeah, it's actually freaking great to have Storm. It's a great zoning tool. It helps so much. Something like Stalker into Storm, I think, is so underrated by a lot of the top Protoss players. I don't quite understand it. And I've mentioned this before. I really believe that if some of these top Protoss players would play Storm more consistently, I think it would be better. And I don't quite understand it. I really don't. It makes no sense to me. Because when I watch my own games and I'm a Storm enjoyer, I very often get very close, or I beat some of the top level Zerg players while playing Storm. And my early game is significantly worse than the early game of the top guys. Like Hero, MAXPAX, they're killing 12, 13 drones. Well, not as much anymore these days, but they used to still just fly in with oracles. And even now, like I watch MAXPAX, he'll kill 10, 12 workers sometimes. Maybe not against Serral or against Raynor or against Dark. But honestly, even against those guys it happens. That never happens for me. I'm always playing from behind in the early game because I'm just slower with my oracles than they are with their queens. MAXPAX and Hero are so fast. They know how to make these rotations. They understand how it works. But then they often follow up with these... It almost feels like they're playing live on easy mode. You know? They never had to work. They have the early game privilege, basically. You know? So they don't know what it's like to work hard in the mid game. Because usually they just win the game due to their big advantage from the early game. And then when all of a sudden, you know, they don't have that early game advantage, they're like, well, this mid game sucks. They're like, yeah, could have told you that. You were winning because you killed 15 workers. Not because you go 6-gate Blink Stalker every single game. No, well, it is what it is. Yeah, once again, gonna go into a Robo Bay, but the timing, like... I don't quite understand it. I just don't. I've been a massive hater of the Colossus for years now. And my hate has gotten more intense over the past months. The Colossus as a unit versus Zerg, in my opinion, is only good when you're so far ahead that anything would be good. It's like one of these things. If you can win with Colossus, you could have won with anything. Because the investment is so large and the payoff is almost never there. Like, what are Colossus good for? What? They're literally good against Lynx. That's it. They're good against Lynx. They suck against Roaches. They suck against Banelings. They have nothing. By the time that the first Colossus is out, or the first two Colossus are out with Thermal Lance, Hive is done. Vipers will be out on the map. Ultras will be on the way. Your tech is invalid. You've been hard countered. And there was no window in which you could do anything. If you kill 30 workers with your first two oracles, then Colossus are great because your opponent can't get off lair attack. But here, I mean, this is crazy how much pressure Dark is capable of putting on, while simultaneously out-teching his opponent as well. And this is not due to Zerg imbalance. At least I don't believe this is due to Zerg imbalance. This is due to the fact that we're seeing Colossus being produced which have no value. They're terrible units. I don't... Okay, in my eyes, I understand that different people can have different points of view. But I haven't been convinced by a single game. And if you think I'm wrong, then convince me with an example where the Colossus as a unit performs so well that it comes back into a lost game. I can give you loads of examples where this happens with Storm, where a toss that is dead is capable of all of a sudden going out on the map because Storm finishes. Because Storm is a counter to Lynx and Banelings, while Colossus is only a counter to Lynx. So if you survive till Colossus, all your opponent needs is a Baneling nest with centrifugal hooks. Well, if your Storm finishes, Zerg needs either Lurker, Ultra Cavern, or Brute Lord. One of those three high-tech units. That means you're most likely gonna have a timing. And I wanna understand this, but I don't. This could be due to my lack of intelligence. But I don't think that is the case. I think the Colossus is a bad unit. I'm actually gonna talk with Max after this series. I wanna know. And I'll let you guys know tomorrow in the broadcast. I'm gonna talk with him. I'm gonna figure out why the Colossus... Like right now, the first two Ultras are out on the way, already on the way out. There's 3 Vipers here. Like, what is the role of the Colossus in this game except getting pulled into an army? Incomprehensible to me, absolutely. Absolutely incomprehensible. No banelings out on the map. It's going to be pure Ling Ultra. 5% position as well. Queen's moving over. This push looks scary from the Zerg perspective until these Ultras finish up. As there are no banelings whatsoever in this army. First Ultras here. There goes the first Colossus. There goes Colossus number 2. And we might even get Colossus... No Colossus number 3. This was a good fight here for the Zerg player. We now have Storm on the way. As well as we have a 5th Colossus coming out right now. Base potentially in trouble. Do we have Adrenal Glands already? I don't know if I saw that upgrade. I think we do, because this Nexus is falling at a very rapid pace. So are these Stalkers. So for the second time this game, the forward base is going to get cancelled. And MAXPAX is just getting overrun. He's just getting, honestly, outplayed here by Dark this series. MAXPAX not capable of dealing damage, not getting any momentum in these games. And then hitting Colossus timings into someone that already has the hard counter to it. Not just the soft counter in the banelings, but the actual hard counters. They're already there. That is an issue. That is really an issue. Wall has been set up over on the 3rd base, so MAXPAX is going to try to survive. He's transitioning into Immortals as well, which I like. I think an Immortal Immortal Archon Templar type of attack could potentially still do something. You can always do something with an Archon Immortal Storm attack. If there are no Brood Lords and no Lurkers. Because the Ultras are really good as long as the Immortal count stays low. But the Ultras fall off pretty freaking hard once that Immortal count starts matching the Ultra count even remotely. You don't even have to have a complete match. Ideally you do. Ideally you match it +1. That's my philosophy. Oh, there goes another Colossus and there goes an Archon. Templar not quite being in position as the Archon does get saved by the Prism. Colossus didn't. Honestly, a blessing in disguise. So that means you now have supply left over for units that might actually deal damage. Anabolic Synthesis is about to finish up here, as we see on the right side, as well as Burrow. I remember that at some point there was an upgrade for the Ultralisk, in which they could burrow underneath and then pop from underground. And I think they would stun a certain amount of units. I love this drop, by the way. Brilliant play. Underutilized, for sure. The Overlord speed plus the Overlord drop. I think that is definitely underutilized. As a tactic. Not the entire strategy should be based on this, but I think as a tactic, this is underutilized. And Dark, I think he values it correctly here. It's kind of a toss breaker. Ultra's trying to burst through. MAXPAX staying alive for now. Immortal count is continuing to grow. Void Ray in the air will clear that Ultra. Get a big recall in towards the main base. Colossus gets taken out. Perhaps too big of a recall in towards the main base. Stalker's doing a good job against these Ultras. And so is this Archon, tanking quite a bit. 21 workers have gone down. As Dark is out. Dark is just owning. Doesn't have a lot of gas though, so maybe there's something to be done there. MAXPAX is losing bases. He's just losing bases. Immortal count is what? 3, 4? He's gonna get his +3 finished. Dark already at 3-2 upgrades. And is now finally finishing his Baneling speed. It's very late in the game. That is most definitely a mistake as he starts his +3 carapace. Needs a couple of extra extractors in my mind. Get a higher gas count. That's really the only thing he's lacking at the moment. This army is lacking Immortals. And I'm not sure how many Storms we have available. Against high link count, Storm is of course fantastic. That is the absolute hard counter against the Zergling. Just a couple of Storms on that army. Immortal gonna get picked off from the back. Here comes a zoning Storm. Decent enough kiting here coming out of MAXPAX. Gonna get a couple of kills, but will get pushed away once more. Ultras continue chasing most likely as they can. Link's coming from the left side. Link's going in the main base. And MAXPAX for the 3rd time in a row forced to tap out. Alright, game number 4 with Max versus Dark. Probably for a little bit of damage this time around. But this hasn't been the series. quite yet for our Krolos brother. I'm also a little bit biased. I love MAXPAX. I love Krolos, but it's looking freaking tough, man. Dark is just really good as well. It's double Evo Ultra styles. Oh, he's freaking styling. He really is. Like, these last two games look like a significant skill difference. It really did. That sucks. I don't enjoy watching that. We're gonna have a triple hatch here coming out of MAXPAX. Sorry, triple hatch coming out of MAXPAX. We have a triple hatch coming out of Dark. It's gonna be triple Nexus though out of MAXPAX as well. If he tries to clear this Overlord, might be in a bit of trouble here. I think it's gonna show up. Overlord's gonna dupe. Oh, that Overlord's not gonna die. It's gonna survive. Absolutely, a little bit too quick there. That sucks. A rough start here for Max again. Keeping his first Oracle at home, being forced to use the Pulsar Beam. Ooh, that is a triple gas into a fast Roach Warren for Dark as he goes for a Queen Roach Ling attack. He's gonna walk 5 queens to the other side of the map. Very easy to scout this build. Very, very easy to scout. A single revelation is going to be enough. As long as MAXPAX gets in range of any of these extra gases, he is going to know exactly what's kicking off. It's going to be very, very simple for him to scout this. That is a good snipe there on the creep trooper. That's going to delay any type of queen move out. Still no drones are out over here. First queens now moving across the map. This is such a... okay, the moment you see no queens in the main, like... Okay, like this is... Like the alarm bells are ringing. Absolutely. Absolutely ringing right now. There's a couple of ways you can defend this, and one of my favorite ways here is to continue Oracle production. Cancel that Twilight Council, continue Oracle production, get more batteries out. We're not seeing continued... Okay, here comes the next Oracle, and a Dark Shrine, okay. Dark Shrine, extra Oracle. We need a couple more batteries. We need good Stalker count as well. These are some things that we're going to need. You know what I wouldn't even mind? A full wall here in the natural. Second Cybernetics core. Just get that full wall in there. All units just chilling at the third base near the batteries. Then Berserk needs to make a decision. Hey, am I going to waste time clearing a Cybernetics core? Then maybe you can kite a little bit with Stalkers from that third. Or like, what is the plan here? Ravager count is pretty freaking high already, though. Ravager count is pretty freaking high. Dark Shrine still a whiles away from finishing up. This is why I would have loved to see a full wall. This is why I would have loved to see a full wall. There's only 4 Oracles right now. And there are 6 Queens out. This wall is going to get breached. Absolutely. Dark Shrine, 25 seconds away from finishing up. Super Battery not in range to deal with these Queens. For these Oracles to get healed while fighting the Queens. Another gateway gets taken out. Dark Shrine, what is that, 15 seconds or so? Less, 5-6 seconds from finishing up. We have one gateway available. 12 workers going down already. Oracles have been activated completely. As workers going down at a rapid pace. First DT gets warped in. That's number 1. 2 more DTs here getting warped in. It's going to be number 3 and 2. In a different order. 2 and 3. 70 workers dying already. As this is going to get cleaned up eventually. And the question here is at what price? I think the price is going to be a natural base dying. As well as a lot of workers going down. Queens have all fallen though. So that is something to keep in mind. Once more, I think that full walling there would not have been a mistake. Nexus is going to be rebuilt. Look at the worker count. 41 to 39. Supplies in favor of Dark. Decent margin. Natural wall breached. That means that Lynx can run by in towards the main base at any point in time. Queen count is low, as these DTs are not going to be capable of doing very much. We have a lair finished. That means Overseers can now be produced as well. Dark is trying to pop some type of queens out, but these Oracles perhaps can still do something. No, need to come back home as there's no wall in the net. Absolutely vital right now that MAXPAX doesn't end up losing this natural once more. Violent's gonna get sniped. Nope, stays alive. Okay, that Archon's gonna finish up, and that's going to provide quite a bit of safety. Dark still in a very good spot though. It's gonna go for Pneumatized Carapace, and this feels like a follow-up all in. This feels like a part 2, basically. And unlike most Disney movies, the sequel might actually be good. Because let's be real. Who enjoyed Frozen 2? Or Shrek 7? Shrek isn't Disney, I realized. But my point still stands. Or the 35th edition of superheroes fighting in another Marvel movie. Avengers 12. Star Wars 85. Usually it gets worse over time. But I don't think it's going to be the case with this All In. I think it's going to get better. I think it's going to be stronger. And I wonder if MAXPAX is going to be capable of holding. He has a low worker count. But it's not because he's cutting workers early. It's because he has crap eco. That's the difference. Archons here attacking the left side. These oracles are gonna get blasted. Or at least their pulsar beams are gonna get blasted. It's just too many units. There's no wall, there's too many units. I don't think MAXPAX can do anything. It's gonna lose a bunch of workers for free. It's just pure Archon. There are no immortals here defensively, no sentries. Not enough oracles to deal with the Ravagers either. It's just over. It is absolutely over here. +1 about to finish up faster for the Zerg. Is MAXPAX still researching his +1? This base is gonna die once more. That's the second time the natural gets sniped. As Dark knows, he's walking into a 4-0 victory here. GG gets called. And Dark indeed wins with a 4-0 score. That means we'll be going into our next series, which will be Solar versus Cure. This is going to be the second best of 7. Before tomorrow we have some absolutely epic matches. Maru versus Serral in the first semis. And there's another banger downstairs. I can't even recall who's there. But I bet it's gonna be a banger though. I think Hero is playing there actually. Hero versus Rainer. I wanna say that's going to be. Yeah, that is correct. Because Dark lost to Rainer with a 3-0 score. And Hero beat MAXPAX with a, I want to say that was a 3-2 score. So yeah, some pretty sick semifinals. Great to have no mirrors in the semis as well. That's the upper bracket semifinals. These are the lower bracket, the first lower bracket matches. In which Dark just managed to advance by taking out MAXPAX 4-0. MAXPAX struggling here in this tournament. Of course, it's a very hard tournament. Getting to the top 8 here was already quite impressive. Then getting knocked out, of course, sucks. Especially in the way that he did. Double Reapers on the way for Cure. Probably gonna go up to more than just 3 though. Might even go up to 4. Or 5. We've seen it all here. Nah, it's just gonna be 3. Ooh, I think that drone should have died. He's gonna die. Drone does die. It's a good start here for Cure. Getting a kill on a worker is always nice. It's not something you necessarily expect. Cure's regrouping. He's gonna try to perhaps jump in towards the main base. He's the lack of a third. He's gonna be pretty happy with all of that. He's gonna be moving back and forth. There goes one grenade. There's another drone. Keeps all the Reapers alive. Good start here. Solar kind of getting outplayed by his opponent. Reapers moving in. Come on, man. Come on. That's frustrating. These Reapers have dealt quite some damage, direct and indirect. Now we're gonna get a third base for Solar. It's going to be slower than his opponent's third base. It's going to be a 2-1-1 follow-up here for our Korean Terran player as well. Playing for Team Liquid currently. Jumps up to the high ground. Solar building a couple of overlords. Just kind of trying to figure out how Solar's gonna defend this. Like, what worker count is he aiming to? There's a Liberator being built with it as well. I kind of like that. So usually what you do in this scenario as a Terran player is that the reactor would be on the starport, and we'd see 2 medevacs being produced. Cure here is switching it up. He's saying, hey, I want a couple of Hellions, perhaps even Hellbats with my incoming 2-on-1 push. So I want the reactor to remain on the factory for just a little bit longer. Just a tiny tad longer. So delays his medevacs, but he's going to hit like a truck. Because he's going to get a bunch of Hellions out. He's even going to kind of harass here with those cars. He's showing them. Maybe baiting out a Hellbat defense response out of his opponent. Wanting to force a couple of Banelings. Because if you're seeing this as a Zerg, you're like, wait, why are there Hellions right now? That makes no sense. Solar isn't biting the bait though. Just straight up going into those 1-1 upgrades. Spores are being added in anti-liberator positions. Solar well aware of what his opponent is doing. Little jump forward there out of Cure. 44 workers to 60. Surely this is the drone count where Solar says enough is enough. No? 5 more. Just 1 more. It's like me when I'm playing games at night. Or when I'm watching shorts on YouTube. Or reels on Instagram. 1 more. Really the final one this time. After watching another Subway Surfer clip. Combat shield starting. Solar has a lot of drones here. Does he have enough units? I don't know if he does. I don't know if he does. 3 queens. Sorry, 6 queens. 1 going down. Fort base toast. Right now. Now, it might sound appealing to a British person. They're about to have breakfast. And all they have is some beans. Solar doesn't like toast. He's eaten Korean food before. So he knows what good food tastes like. And the English breakfast pales in comparison to even just average Korean food. Get 1 at least, send in there. Gonna die to these Marines. Siege tanks on the way behind this. So round up to a really high worker count. Gonna keep it alive. Spore mispositioned. Not the quickest response here out of Solar. He's not playing as fast as he has in the past. Now he's doing it quickly though. That's good. Cure 65 workers. I am not seeing a fort base on the minimap quite yet. I am seeing 2 more reactors being produced. An armory on the way. Solar has the upgrade lead. Probably gonna keep that. At least for a little while. At least until 2-2. Solar was... I don't think Solar knew that the army was there. I wonder if both players know what their position is like right now. Because the game feels pretty even with Solar at a minor upgrade advantage, but not with a whole lot of creep. Big link run by coming in right now. Actually, if all those links went across the map right at this moment, I think that Cure's 3rd base would have been in serious trouble. Maybe Solar's 4th would have been in serious trouble as well though, and because he didn't double expand, that could have been an issue. 1-1 has finished up. So let's see what's kicking off over here. Here we go with the flank. Tank fire on the Banelings. As this hatch is gonna get taken out. Holy crap. It's not gonna get taken out. What the hell was that? What? Kier just forgot to control his units there. I think this should have been game. It still might be game, because Kier's really far ahead supply-wise. He just... okay. I guess. Like, Solar already evacuated this base as well. Because he didn't expect to hit those banelings. I mean, that was not great control at all. Solar's not in a good spot at the moment. He's finished his 2-2, so this should be his peak strength. The problem is he doesn't have an army. And upgrades are great, but they're only as great as your army is. And his army is pretty garbage right now, let me tell you that. His army is pretty freaking garbage at the moment. That is not what you want. Oh no. Yeah, Kier's just gonna move him forward. He's gonna get a kill here. Unlike his opponent, not just... Kier's just not microing his units. He just didn't micro anything there. Lost 4 mines on a clump. Just kind of stood there. He's in such a good spot that it doesn't matter, but... This is really sloppy. This is how people sometimes play if they're so far ahead that they don't believe their opponent can win. Or if you're playing against someone like 500 MMR below you and you're ahead. It's like you just start A-moving. It's like there's no way he can come back, right? Just... Even here, there's no target fire on these banes. He's just running away. This is crazy. Okay, now he targets down that bane. This has been really, really poor micro. Just extremely poor. It started with that big baneling hit at the fort base. And it ends with what we just saw. But it doesn't matter because Kier just has too many units. He simply has too much crap. There's nothing here for Solar. Like, the only way that Solar can really hold if he gets like 2 big parasitic bombs and every medevac dies. And then the banelings connect with every marine. Which is unlikely, but honestly, perhaps could happen. Like, Solar's getting trades here that are technically impossible. He's gonna get a parasitic bomb. Nah, the baneling count's just not high enough. There's no creep spread either. Yeah, now Kier's controlling his army again. Yeah, it's a couple of clears there. Now the baneling count is non-existent. Kier's just gonna march in. 5 banelings remaining. They should be capable of just being shift-clicked. In my mind, at least. Liberator showing up. 3-3 on the way, so Kier's also gonna just be taking the upgrade lead. And Solar is trying his best, because he believes, he's like, man, I've seen some fights this game. They give me hope. They really do give me hope, but it is technically impossible. He needs a run by out on the map. If he can run by 15, 20 links and not die for a minute, then maybe I'd say, hey, we got potential here. But like, he's not dealing any damage to the other side. This honestly was a good fight for Solar. Like, he's probably still gonna die in the next minute or so. That was such a good, yeah, that was such a good fight for how far behind he was at the start of that fight. This shouldn't have been a somewhat even trade. That should have been a sweep. Kier's gonna cancel that 5th base. Yeah, Solar is just lacking bases to mine from as well right now, which is an issue. He's moving off creep. Doesn't have any banelings. It's just pure Hydra Ling. Adrenal Glands is great, but not that great. GG gets called. And Kier indeed wins game number 1 here. Solar looks a little bit upset, but I don't think you need to be too upset after losing a game like that. You look at it and think to yourself, hey, I performed relatively well, despite having a rough time after I lost that fort. So I think he's going to be okay with that. Ooh. Second map here is going to be Equilibrium. Perhaps well, it's not the greatest Zerg map. Most Terran players believe that Roodhuset Station is better for Zerg than Equilibrium is. But Equilibrium is pretty freaking good for Zerg, alright. That's a good Zerg map if I've ever seen one. And I've seen some good Zerg maps in my time. Alright, I've seen some very good Zerg maps in my time. Solar there looks like he's in pain. In his shoulders. Sometimes see this. People that have shoulder pain after playing games for too long. I feel like all of like these shoulders and upper back things though, they can, by doing some simple exercises, they often just go away pretty quickly. Like you do some posture exercises and I think you have this back exercise that's called the Superman that I used to do a lot when I had some back pain. This always worked very well for me when I had my gaming related injuries. I would go to the PT. I was like, some pain in my hands. My fingers hurt a bit. It's like, what? Like, yeah, it's my fingers. I feel like I'm using them too much. The guy's just looking at me like I'm an idiot. I'm like, yeah. I click buttons really quick. It's like, one of those guys, huh? A gamer? I say, yeah, I'm a gamer. Disgusting. Spits at me. Kick me out of the PT office. We don't want no gamers here. We want sports people. People that are capable of doing athletics. I once told this story before, actually. But it's one of my favorite stories. And this is to illustrate how it was just... I think this was 8 years ago now, 2015. I went to... I signed up for a new gym. And there was like a... You know, many gyms have like a little introduction where if you're completely brain dead, they'll tell you basically what a good program is to follow. You know, if you don't have access to the internet, you can't use Google. One of these coaches will tell you, hey, this is what you should do. You know, lift this much and lift on these days and do this and do that. And run around for a bit and you'll be fine. So I have one of these intros with this guy. And I was telling him that, you know, he was like, what do you do? And back then, I'd often lie about what I did. I'd often say that I work for, you know, selling insurance, because that's one of the most boring jobs that there is. People don't ask questions. If you don't want to talk about your job, tell them that you sell insurance. And then for what company, you just tell them one of the big five. Then if they're in the industry, they'll know. If they're not in the industry, they'll stop asking. And they'll pretend to know. So one of the big five or one of the big three. It doesn't really matter. 5 or 3, either is fine. So nothing's going on in this game, so I can continue the story. So I tell this guy, I decided not to lie. I wasn't an insurance agent that day. I'm a professional gamer. And he just looks at me. He's like, what? I'm like a professional gamer. I play video games. I play tournaments. And then, you know, I get paid by a team and there's prize money. It's just a look of disgust on his face. He's like, man, that's not a real job. I feel ashamed. You know, he was pushing it pretty hard. I recall being shocked at how direct he was about the fact that it wasn't a real job. We talked a bit about it, and he asked me how much I made. And this was, I think, the weekend before I got a payout from a WCS tournament where I got, I think, top 16 maybe. That's something like 4K. I was like, last weekend I made, you know, 4K. It's a lot of money. So, and he seemed impressed by that. The fact that there was money, you know, and you know, quite a bit of money. I was like, oh, that maybe it is something. So he was warming up to the idea. Then we went through the exercise and he saw that I was relatively fit. And he continued kind of warming up to the idea of professional gamers, you know, being a real thing. And these people maybe being worth his time to talk to look at, just to interact with in general. You know, he was warming up to the idea. And then in the end, we got kind of friendly. He's like, man, hold that thought. We have a little bit of a alien attack over here. Queen in some trouble. Yeah, that queen's gonna fall. Liberator hits the main base as well. It's gonna die. Now we have a little bit of downtime again. Maybe actually these aliens will run in. Oh, Link's out of position. It's possible. It is possible here. If Cure just commits. Isn't Solar just dead? There's nothing here. Cure's not gonna commit. That's gonna cost him because he's gonna lose a couple of works here at the third base. You see this run by Materialize. Yeah, so basically at the end of the session, he you know, I can feel that he's starting to respect me as a person. And he's like, man, I should add you on Facebook. You know, we can stay in touch and we can talk. Yeah, like, all right, that's great. So he types, he's like, what's your name? So I tell him my name. And the first thing that pops up is Kevin de Koning, Harstem Kevin de Koning. It was my Facebook fan page that I had. And it was tagged in the category athlete. And he looks at that and says, "Wait, is this you? Athlete?" And we just go back to zero. It's like, man, gaming is not an athlete. You're not an athlete. And I'm like, oh my god. It felt like we made so much progress. so much progress. But in the end, it all got ruined. Back then, there wasn't a category for esports athlete or esportser. Or just a gamer, video gamer. Probably there is now. I just don't use Facebook anymore. Yeah, I remember him getting very upset by it. I feel like this type of interaction nowadays would be pretty unlikely to have. Most people are very aware of just esports in general. Even if they don't know anyone that is an e-athlete, a professional gamer. You know, you're aware of the fact that it is a profession. Short 8 years. Aliens here sacrificing their life for the greater good. That greater good is going to be 12 drones, 13. Main base will remain secure. Solar in a good spot though. Has that base on the gold. Has a rich Vespine geyser there. Has the 1-1 upgrades. Loads of gas in the bank. Can start a 2-2 whenever he pleases. And I think this 5th base will also stay alive. I don't actually see that 5th base dying anytime soon. That was okay target fire. Gets out 2 of these Banes and picks up instantly. Links in the main base will clean up this drop. Double Medivacs moving towards the bottom side at the same time. And I love Solar's spot here because he has the gold base, he has the rich Vespine geyser, he can quickly tag into a hive if he wants to. Does he have an infestation pit yet? I don't know. He's gonna lose a couple of drones though, needs to be careful. His spot is good, but it's always fragile against Talon. You're always one bad drop away from just straight up dying. Infestation pit starts now. The gas count is high, and that's because of that rich Vespine geyser. That double gas income is hitting hard, alright? That is hitting very, very hard. These Marines not being lifted here once again, not controlling his units. Solar gets to reap the reward there. Lurker then on the way. Pneumatized carapace as well. It's the Overlord speed, so perhaps for the Overseers wants to be capable of keeping up with his own army. In case there's any burrowed mines. Queen's moving in. I don't think this is enough anymore. Yeah, I don't think so. Gonna need some type of Ling Bane here to deal with that. Retarget on the mines. Well, retarget by the mines on the Queens. His bottom base is under attack by a single Ling. Might kill 1 or 2 workers. Drops heading in towards the main base. At the same time, we have the double attack once again. Actually, quad medevac here. Ooh. Mines blow up some Banes. Banes blow up some Marines. Mines blow up some Marines. Okay trade for Solar, who's in a good spot. Definitely in a good spot. Map is relatively large as well. Let's not forget about that. That's of course always going to be an advantage for Zerg. 87 workers right now for our Zerg player. Here come the Banes. A couple of Marines just dying way too far forward once more. That's 1 Bane that gets taken out. A couple of Banes coming from the high ground. Ooh, that was a good mine drag right on top of a lot of these Marines. As Solar takes a bit of a supply lead. Continues his upgrades as well. Seismic Spines, Adrenal Glands, 2 Vipers on the way. Plenty of gas to go around. I'm wondering if he's actually gonna get some Seismic Spine boys, what you call them? The Lurkers out. Because I'm just looking at this. I see no Ghost, I see no Liberators. That feels like it could have some potential here, no? Ooh, good splits. Oh well, good enough. Not actually were good splits. Not just good enough, those were good splits. These splits were fine, these were good again. At least the moving forward there was good. 104 supply against 104 supply. Seismic Spines finishes up. I hope we're going to get a couple of Lurkers. I think Lurkers would be such a good unit here. There's just no long-range attacks here. There's no Liberators. There's no Snipes. There's no tanks. How are you going to hold a Lurker attack? I don't understand. Cure here is banking on the fact that Solar doesn't build Lurkers. And I think he's going to get away with it. This is like getting away with murder. This is worse. It's like a double homicide here that Cure is executing. Solar's just looking the other way. This would have been a win. Like, any amount of lurkers here. Like, it's just a pure marine army. That can't defend lurkers. It cannot. Pure marine mine. No liberators, no ghost. Getting upset just thinking about this. Here comes Solar. Believes he can deal some damage with just Hydra Bane. And he has a lot of Banelings. And he has these Vipers here as well. But I think we're missing a prime opportunity. God. Banelings connecting once again with just big portions of that force. This base in some trouble. Mine's in the back. Gonna connect? No, not really. Parasitic Bomb did connect. Still, at any point, lurkers would be fantastic. Absolutely brilliant to have here. SCVs not being pulled away are gonna die to the Hydras, as the Banelings had a couple of connections as well. Oh, Hydras need to be careful though. Never want to be running away with Hydras. Link streaming in across the map. Solar losing a lot of supply. Eskier stays around and wins this fight. Solar has a lot of cash in the bank. Cleared a base, I think, and cleared a bunch of workers. I still believe that lurkers here would be... Okay, now we get them. 6 lurkers. That is a big deal. That really is a big deal. Like, what is here for... Like, he has nothing. He has Marine Maraud... Oh my god, they got cancelled? Oh, no. Were these all the lurkers that were morphing? Yeah, we have 4 more on the way. There's 2 lurkers out. And now the first 2 ghosts start. Yeah. I'm afraid Solar might end up missing his timing. Solar coming in with a run by towards that gold. It's gonna fight some Marines, but just pure Links. That never really works out well. At the same time, Links taking out SCVs. And of course forcing this army back, which is probably the bigger deal. Because that allows these lurkers to get in position. Wait, where are they? Hello? Oh, maybe they're in the Nidus network? No. Dude. Literally all we need is some lurkers here at the front. I think Solar missed a massive opportunity here. A golden opportunity to win this game. Absolutely. Spire on the way behind this. Nidus network goes down in the main. Instantly attacks. This attack is a fake. This is to distract the opponent. To trick the Terran mind into thinking that something is happening. Yes, these Banelings are somewhat connecting, but this is still a fake attack. This is not where Solar is going to win the game. The game is being won right now on the main base, or at least that's the plan. Cure was paying attention though. Gets a couple of snipes off there. Production in trouble. Liberator's gonna siege up. You just need 2 lips to deal with something like this. You just need 2 lips. Get a scan with 2 Liberators and you're gonna be fine. At the same time though, Solar continues trading. 13 SCVs have gone down. That's a big scan. That's a big scan. And that is a lot of lurkers in that Nidus network. And I think we're gonna need a low ground Nidus network at this point. Solar has spent all of the money in the bank. That was a lot of cash. Oh, big mine hit. Solar looks a little bit upset about that. Ghost coming in with a flank. I'm not entirely sure what that's all about. They're now off screen. I think they're being killed. Maimed by Zerglings. Nidus network going down somewhere. Is it on the bottom side? I think so. Yep, that's gonna finish up. This is a good move. I like that. Still feel like if they would have been with the main army at the very start, that would have probably been a better move. But here comes Solar once more. Knock, knock, knocking on the planetary's door. No one's home. And now there's no house anymore. The big bad wolf ate it. That big bad wolf's name? Albertine? No. Solar. No one saw that coming. 18 SCVs have gone down as bases are falling at a rapid pace. Solar keeps on the pressure. And I think he's just winning this game. I think he's just winning this game. He's made it difficult for himself. But with his trademark style of Hydra Lingbane, couple of lurkers in a Nidus, roaming around, trying to pick off bases, trying to go for the main offense. He's now getting infestors with this composition as well. These units are going to get caught. Pure once again with a sloppy setup here. Losing some free units there. It's not brilliant. Army supply still close. Income though, look at that. 3,700 minerals a minute versus 1,700. More than doubling his opponent's income. That's the cure that we know and love. That is the cure that we know and love. What is Solar doing here? I don't know. He's just roaming around. Gonna get some kills. Big mine hits there. Ghost in the back. Could potentially get a couple of snipes in. Blinding Cloud is good. Fungal for good as well. That allows these Banelings to perhaps connect. Another Fungal doesn't quite connect. 170 supply to 119. Cure taps out. And Solar ties up the series after a game that felt fairly difficult given how good this map is supposed to be for Zerg. Alrighty, map 3 is going to be played on Solaris. It's an interesting pick for a Terran player. But I'm looking at this from the Protoss mind. You know what the Protoss mind tells me on this map? You know what the Protoss mind tells me on this map? The Protoss mind tells me that this is good for Zerg. But I'm not sure if that's actually the case in TVZ. Because these bases are pretty far apart. It's going to be hard to hold some bases. There's some good angles that the Terran can take as well. Some ramps. Ramps are always going to be good for a Terran. So maybe it's just a fine Terran map. I see it picked fairly often anyway for them. Early on. But my Protoss mind tells me this is a good Zerg map. Just by default. Although it's also a good Terran map in TVP. So make it out what you will. Make it out what you will. Double Reaper. See how he's gonna follow this up. Ooh. Tries to bounce these queens out. Control out of Cure so far in this series has been quite good. He's probably gonna go for a triple CC here. Why is this guy hiding all the way on the very bottom? What the hell? And why in the world is Cure finding this? Woohoo! Right into Extractor, baby. Gonna need to cancel. He's gonna lose his drone as well. Hits himself with some of these grenades. Why is that drone all the way down there? That makes no sense, but I love it anyway. I love it anyway. Solar with the double Overlord here. As these links move across the map at a high pace. Double Cyclone on the way. So it's going to be 6 factory units most likely. 2 Cyclone into 4 cars. And when I was talking with Solar about this particular build, he didn't seem very impressed by it. He said it's a good build and it can be hard to deal with. But you can also deal with it in any way that you want. You can go for double Evo, you can go lair Baneling Nest. And Solar, I think, generally is a double Evo enjoyer. So I'm fully expecting there to be 2 extra gases that will be thrown down pretty soon here. Okay, here comes the first gas at least. And after those 2 gases, 2 Evo chambers. That's the natural order of things, frequently. There's one thing he needs to keep in mind, that's going to be potential Hellbat attacks. Cyclone into continued Hellion production. 4, 6, 8, 10 Hellions. Then with an armory there, all of a sudden that 2-1-1 timing that the Terran is going for could be really difficult to hold here for our Zerg player. But for now, yep, here comes the double Evo. So Solar going for his preferred style. Which is not weird. So we see Hellion stop after the 6 units. Ooh, it's gonna be an armory though. That's interesting. So we have not a very big investment into the factory units. Just gonna be 4 cars. But all these 4 cars are gonna turn into Hellbats. And if there are no Banelings and the defense is pure Ling, maybe that's possible, right? Maybe that is just good enough. Maybe it is. Queen count is of course fairly high. There's no forward base out quite yet. This queen in some trouble. 55 workers out. We see Solar trying to go up to 57 here, by the way. Perhaps even 60. Yeah. He's gonna try to go there. Baneling Nest now on the way. Lair now on the way. Solar struggling with getting a fort base up. As his Lings are looking for something. Are they gonna find what they're looking for? They want to go in before the Marines arrive. That doesn't work out. Queens need to move towards the right side. Fort base needs to go down here for Solar. Solar potentially in some trouble. Comes in with a flank. Queens absorbing a lot of damage. Overlord goes down here to flank. Hellbat's dishing out a lot of damage though. The control out of Cure is good. Is it good enough? I think the answer might just be yes. There's still one Cyclone available that has a lot of damage out with Solar's dead. GG. He's frustrated, did not build the safety Banelings, pays the price in giving up this map. And he looked very upset with himself there. He looked very, very upset. Solar back to full focus now, but it's always rough when that type of stuff happens. And he seemed, yeah, he seemed upset by it. Oh, he's gonna lose a drone. Nah, he's not fully focused. I've seen 2 head nods in 5 seconds now. losing a drone and a Ling while building 8 Lings as a start is not a great opener. Loses another Ling here. Akir is microing this well. Like, he really is microing this well, but he's not supposed to deal this damage. Absolutely not. I wonder if he's going to try to jump in. Yep, here we go. There's 5 Lings available. They're not in the correct position. Cure sneaks by. Solar. Oh. That's a second drone. Might even lose number 3. No. Yes. Yeah. Most definitely. He's going to sacrifice some Reapers for it, though. So at least Solar can be happy with that. Could potentially even take a 3rd base already at this point. But lost 3 workers, 4 Lings or so, and killed 2 Reapers. Question being here, was this worth it for Cure? I think the answer is yes. To me, that looked like it was worth it for Cure. Starport now goes down. These Lings are going to be knocking on Cure's door. This time no Cyclones, by the way. Just straight into cars. Which is interesting. I mean, cars are cheap, but they also build very fast. So in a way, it often it flows less smoothly. It smotes less slowly. That's what I was gonna say. That's not correct. Dutchies. Liberator being constructed as well. Stim is on the way. So it feels like he has 2 modes to follow this up, right? We've seen the Cyclone into Hellion follow up. Oh, no. Please. Solar. Don't let it happen. Oh, good close gap. Didn't. That was so close. He could have gotten all of those cars. He was like a millisecond away from getting that. What I was going to say is that it feels like Cure has 2 modes. Either he goes into 6, 8 cars. Actually, I think 8 cars it is. Yeah, 8 cars with 1 Liberator. Into then a follow-up with double Medivacs. Or he goes for that Cyclone into 4 Hellion. Either way, Solar's going to be playing double Evo Chamber. Solar is not a Zerg that likes to respond to what his opponent does. Solar's a Zerg that enjoys getting upgrades quicker than his opponent. That is what sparks joy for him. Eat that, Mary Kondo. That's in none of your books or your instructional videos. It's getting double Evo every single game. If that sparks joy, it sparks joy. Nothing you can do about it. Here comes the Lib. Lib actually was fairly efficient earlier on. I can't even recall which game. Was that the first game we watched? I think so. Where that Lib dealt a lot of damage. Hop. Hellion's moving in. Gonna get another a drone roast. Yeah, Lib in prime spots here. Prime spots, absolutely. He's gonna get killed in the end. This does get pushed back. Here come the double Medivacs. There's no armory with this, at least not that I can recall. No safety Banelings once more. Solar doesn't believe in the same build twice in a row from his opponent. He's gonna lose this Overlock though, that sucks. That is not fun. We shouldn't be laughing at this. Queens will be capable of holding though. And that's really what Hellbats do, right? They allow you to push through Queen defenses. Which with pure Marine Hellion, you can't really. So if it's just a Queen Ling defense, you get like 6 Hellbats. That's huge. I think he would have been capable of straight up winning here as well. I really do believe that. It's not a whole lot of supply, unit-wise, for Solar. Baneling's finishing, or Baneling Nest finishing up here. Lair is done already. Here comes the Baneling speed, plus the first 9 Banes. As well as a Ling run by. Marines now moving in forward. Not gonna get anything done. That's what we call a start and a half. Oh, Hellions moving into position. Gonna get a lot of kills. Cure's harassment has been phenomenal this series. This also hits the main base at the same time. Spore being taken out. Yeah, it's gonna be a quick pickup there, but no shot, as this queen is still gonna end up falling. Tank push now moving through. I think this might just end the game. I think this tank push could actually just end the game. Bailing speed not done yet. That 5th base in trouble. Ling Run by is gonna deal some damage though, as there are no tanks at home. Oh, Hellions are moving back straight in the arms of the Zerglings. Is SEV still in trouble? At the same time though, Cure pushes in forward, losing a lot of supply at home. This is much more all-in than he wanted this to be. This is pre-centrifugal hooks though. How can you do this? You can't. Pre-bailing speed. Partially off creep. No way, Jose. No way. Here comes the Lings from the top side. Banelings being targeted down by the one tank that is there. Banelings do get a couple of decent connections, but it's not good enough as Solar gets pushed back. Needs to rebuild some Banes. Queens for now holding. But for how much longer? Starts attacking one of his own Queens accidentally. Transfuses going down. Banes moving in forward. Good control there out of Solar. Oi, 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 oi. Infestation pit on the way as well. We are gonna go into the Hive upgrade soon. We don't have a Hydra then yet, so it's gonna be just pure Ling Bane, I think. A switch up out of Solars. A couple of Banes just get blasted there. By these Marines standing there and shooting their C-14 Gauss rifles. Tank in the back as well. Love to see it. Love to see it. Hive starts. 4th base on the way. Cure took a big hit in the eco earlier against that Ling Run by. Solar never truly managed to establish a good eco in the first place. These medevacs will be forced into going towards the main. Ay, 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 ay. Hatchery taking out. Tank fire is good. Cure's walking away with this game again. Cure is taking this game home. He's up 20 supplies, denied a lot of creep, has denied a base. I think that 4th is almost done right now. Surprised it isn't yet, 10 minutes in honestly, but whatever. Bailing count here, not very high. Some Marines being split off, target fire on the Banes. Not quite it, but probably good enough anyway. Mines now moving forward onto creep. Do think that the Bane count is high enough to force this off. Creep once more. Mine hits, not gonna connect. As this drop is heading in towards the main base. What do we have there? That's a couple of Lings. A Bane. No spores available though. More Lings now flowing in. Not sure if that's gonna be capable of stopping this drop. The answer is yes. 171 supply to 156. 2-2 finishing up right now for Cures. He stims in here. Is there any units to defend? Couple of Lings moving in, 5-6 workers going down as Marines get blasted. 6 Marines falling there against the Banes. That was sloppy, but we have more units being rallied across the map. 4th base now moving in position towards the 12 o'clock location. As there are 2 armies on the map. And I think Solar's capable of beating the bottom army. I'm not sure if Solar's capable of beating the the top side army. Tries a run by, fails. Gets sent back home. This is not enough Queens to deal with these Marines. There are mines in the back. Oh, that was a big hit. Couple of Banelings going down there. Marines all stay alive. Mines are disappearing though. So Solar is doing something. Lowering that mine count. And that is good. That is very important. There's a Viper with this army. It's the first Ultras on the way out. Ultras perhaps could be a stabilizing force. Drilling Claws on the way. +3 started as well here for the Terran player. Liberators now on the way out. +3 barracks. No 5th base quite yet for Cure, despite a lot of cash in the bank, despite being maxed out. No +3 armor starting yet either. Ooh, those were big mine hits. And those were all the Banes. Those were all the Banes on the bottom side. That means one base will need to be given up. That's going to be the middle base, as Banes need to be sent over. Oh my god, Cure once again not burrowing a lot of mines there. At the same time, is winning the right side fight. Low on the medevac count as Lib siege up. I think Cure here is closing in on his opponent. Could throw down a couple of command centers. Has the cash available. Starts 1. Should start 3. Because he has a lot of money in the bank right now. A lot of money in the bank that's not being spent on anything. Right side still in control of Cure. This army is going to get pushed back. No Marauders to deal with the Ultra, but perhaps Pure Marine's going to be good enough. It is. Cleans it up. Liberator setting up here on that 4th base. 1 Viper goes down. 2nd Viper goes down. GG gets called. Solar on the brink of elimination in this tournament as Cure takes game number 4 as well and puts himself on match point. And that potential match point map is going to be Site Delta, in which Cure is opening up with a CC first for the first time in this series. Low ground wall. Curious to see what his follow-up is going to be. And curious to see how Solar is going to respond to it. For now, just playing a standard hatch first. Of course, completely unaware of what his opponent is doing. Would be wild if Solar had opened up with a 12 poo here. You're so done with this matchup. An excellent... Wait, what? Oh, for a second I thought that was a 3rd CC for some reason. I looked at it, I was like, wait, what? Are you mad? Like, no, not mad. Actually, just the barracks. No SCV scout coming out of Cure. That's not weird, because he's been playing double barracks quite a bit. You know what Solar is as well? Solar is the type of guy that sees a CC first and then just does something. Okay. Some all-in, like a Ling flood. At least a Ling run by. Solar and Dark have these impulses. I called him after his match against Clem, in which he went for a 1-base Knight as all-in. And he said that the build was improvised. He said, my gut told me it's good. And then we discussed it after the game, and I was like, yeah, if he scouts it, it's probably not great. we agreed on that. If he builds a Cyclone, pulls the workers to deal with my Nidus, I'm probably dead. But he didn't do that, and Solar just won the game. But he's kind of he can be a bit of an impulsive player. He has tight build orders, but can also just have that oomph, you know? That in-the-moment thinking. And I think having a gut feeling that works well is also important, you know? You can do a lot of good decision making with the gut in StarCraft 2. Sometimes you're in a situation where you're not quite sure what is correct, but then you can project that situation onto like a similar situation, or like the response you had before, and you kind of transpose it in a way. Like, this feels like it makes sense, kind of, like based on what I know. And some players are much better at that than others. I think someone like Solar, someone like Dark, they can be quite good at that. Just figuring stuff out on the fly. Double Cyclone opener here. That's interesting. Solar's adding a 2nd gas and a Roach Warren, as well as Ling speed. Now this is giving me very strong Ravager Ling all-in vibes. Cure, is he gonna commit to a scout? No, he's not. 3 Overlords on the way. Now this is not just giving me big vibes. This is confirmation. This is confirmation of a Roach Rush. And this is the greediest build that Cure could have played. This is triple CC into double eBay. 2 Cyclone into Hellion. No air units. No extra production being added. If Cure manages to hold this, Terran is broken. It is as simple as that. Because there's actually a way. So if Solar opens up with just roaches, I think this might be fine. But if there are Lings with it, I don't think this is going to be fine. Here comes 1 Ling, goes in for the scout. Cure's playing this very, very careful. I just don't think you're going to be capable of holding this. I mean, if you can hold this, what do you die against? No? Like, nothing. Yeah, he's completely out of position here. Completely out of position. Completely unscouted attack. No bunker at home. Goes for a scan here. Sees Lings moving across the map. It's like, man, why are these Lings? What are these guys gonna do? now figured it out. I mean, this is over, right? So many links behind this. This depot is having a good time staying alive, though. I'm surprised by that. Hellions in the back as well. Cure so far doing actually a much better job than I had anticipated. Holy crap. It's taking out a lot of the reinforcements. Solar might actually lose this game. Yeah. And these Hellions dealt so much more damage than they ever should have. Like, so much more damage. That is crazy. Cyclone is out here as well. Reactor has gone down. Hold position on those SCVs was good, but they will end up falling. Is there any Marines alive for the bunkers? No, GG gets called. Solar does break his opponent. Puts himself back in the series. Alrighty, next game on Golden Aura. Solar with a quick victory. That's the type of stuff that can give you some momentum in a series. Or at least break your opponent's momentum. Because it really felt like Cure was kind of running away with it all here. It's always nice to get a win like that. Especially on side Delta, which is not necessarily known to be a brilliant map for Zerg. Solar makes it happen. Cure this time with a different type of opener. No double barracks Reaper. No CC first. No low ground wall. Reaper SCV Scout. Very safe. Which is kind of funny because Solar is not much of an early game cheeser. He's not a pool first enjoyer at all. Oh. But this is not an SCV Scout. Well, it is. But I thought he was just going to go there to block the third hatch for a second. But it might still be the case. This map, though, has two viable third base locations. So he's going to need to send their Reaper to the other third base location as well. In order to deny both. Actually, there's no drone there. Okay, third base has been successfully denied here. Just by moving this Reaper across the map, by keeping the SCV patrolling the space. Let's see how Solar's going to do this. He's going to lose one link here. Might have to lose a second link. There we go. Second link goes down. Queen is out. Drone moves over towards the third, where that SCV is still patrolling the space. Yes, sir. Reaper now takes over its duties. As the drone moves back onto creep. That Reaper is fairly low though, so it's not going to have a very long life of denying this base. Drone micro is good enough. Hatch will go down. Significant delay though. Very significant delay here. Triple CC meanwhile at home for our Terran player, who's also throwing down a starport. As well as a second gas pre-Hellion. Giving me strong indications that this is going to be Cloak Banshee, I believe. Yeah, Cloak Banshee vibes. Very cool. Metabolic boost on the way as well. About to finish up. Triple Overlord here for Solar. Gonna be struggling with well, with not getting supply blocked apparently. It's gonna be fine for the next few injects. It's not a great look, of course. Not a great look. Although, he's already at 53 out of 60 now, so I guess it worked out. Solar knows best. Why do I speak? Yeah, it's gonna be a Banshee here. And most likely with Cloak, we have continued Marine production. This is not entirely uncommon. Because it does help if there's a second Overlord that wants to sacrifice his life. Here comes a run by? No, no way. It's gonna be -1 Hellion, perhaps even. Was close. Okay, it's gonna be -1 Hellion, but also perhaps -1 or 2 drones. No, not -1 Hellion. Yes, -1 Hellion. -2 Hellions maybe even. Maybe -Reaper. He's mistargeting there quite a bit. 3 drones, 2 Hellions. The Reaper dies as well. Solar's happy with these trades. 100%. Because those are good trades. That's why he's happy with them. Barracks now should start going down. They're fairly late already, it feels like. Look at the cash that Cure is floating. Also supply blocked. Sloppy mechanics behind this. He's gonna deny himself half a worker or so. Starts 2 depots at the same time. Otherwise he would get supply block again. Still hasn't started extra barracks as he's floating significant amounts of money at this point. 600 minerals in the bank. It's gonna start 4 barracks at the same time most likely. No, 2 extra barracks, double refineries, can start his E-base instantly as well. Nah, this hasn't been good macro. Not good macro out of Cure. That's gonna put him behind. His early game wasn't brilliant either. This Spore is in time, which is great for Solar. as it starts shooting the Banshee, which gets a single kill and then gets pushed back. Tumor is actually gonna go down. No, gets denied. We don't quite see it. Of course, I'm not in control of the observing here. Poof. 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 Drones getting targeted. 5 drones going down. 6 drones. 7 drones. No. Yeah, 7 drones. Okay, that is decent damage here. It's gonna be okay with that. Cure, that is. Solar not too happy. Still a playable position though for Solar. Is taking that 9 o'clock-ish base. 8:30. 8:45 maybe. Because that base just above it also feels like a 9 o'clock base. Maybe not like a 9:30. You have like an 8:30 and a 9:30 base. God, it's difficult if you name bases by clocks. I feel like we should have names for bases. You know how in Counter-Strike every part of the map has a name? It's like the only part I know is called the banana. It's a part of a Counter-Strike map. It's like Hall or Hall 2 maybe. I feel like we need like just proper names for areas of the map. Because now we just call it the bushes or those bushes. We used to have like things like the secret hallway. I feel like whenever we have a new map pool, we should just get naming conventions for them. I guess if maps stayed around longer in the map pool, we would get them. Like the big rocks. The pyramids. The bottom tower. I still feel like we should do that. We should try at least. If you have any suggestions, please leave them in the comments. For parts of the map. We're now walking down this ramp. Armory about to finish up. We actually have bailing speed first this time out of Solar, rather than the quick upgrade. So the reverse of what he usually does. Usually gets a quick upgrade into bailing speed. This time quicker bailing speed into delayed upgrades. That means we're going to have a 1-1 timing that is scary, or potentially scary. But at the same time, bailing speed is already done, so maybe not so scary after all. Fort base landing for Cure, who has solid eco behind all of this. But really, Solar is not in trouble. I actually like Solar's position. It feels this feels way more secure than some other games that we've played. Where Solar might have had better upgrades, but it felt like his traits were worse due to the fact that he didn't have bailing speed yet. The Banshees are being quite annoying. Gonna force the queens to move to the top side. Split up his bunch of banelings as well towards the bottom. There's a drop there too. Or still an army at least. Here we go. That's -1 to links. Woo! Mines are connecting with something. Matter of fact, moving towards the top side. This army probably just gonna get a scan in and deny a little bit of creep. I think that would be a very good thing to do. Yeah, this was a good scan. If he gets the final tumor as well, that would be nice. Splits are good. Good? Yeah, that was good. Good splits. Good splits, good pickup. Hellbats remaining on the ground. This was completely fine for Cure. Worker count extremely high for Solar. I think the next 35 to 40 seconds will be the scariest. If Solar survives those, he's gonna be in a great spot. But they're scary seconds, especially once 2-2 finishes up. There is a timing in which the Terran is going to be maxed and the Terran is going to be up 2 upgrades. If Terran moves across the map with everything he has, Solar could be in trouble. Creep is disappearing already. Bailing count is not necessarily very high. Mine in the back gets a connection, 7-8 links. Pick up and pisses off. Okay, 2 more medevacs here arriving towards the top. Where's the rest of the army? I think Cure right now should be reinforcing towards the watchtower. Then down the green ramp. Because here on the right side, we have an attack. Mine's not going to get a good connection. Drops trying to go in towards the main. No, main is secure. Main is secure. As Cure approaches the green ramp here on the bottom side, it's going to go towards the right of it. Creep has disappeared. 2-2 versus 1-1. Upgrade lead. Max out versus max out, but an army lead. 14 more seconds of an upgrade lead. Is Cure going to be capable of utilizing this small lead that he had there? That small timing window? No. The window has closed. And Cure's not a great burglar. So he's not going to be capable of opening that window again. Maybe once 3-3 finishes. But Carapace starting real quick here for Solar. Solar's going to push this back. Securing a nice portion of the map. Ooh, at the same time though, this bottom side not entirely secure yet. Baneling Cowl not high enough. New units are being rallied there. Mines helping out. Getting a couple of drones. Solar trying to secure the 12 o'clock base as well. He's gonna push out this lane at least. Do we have I think we have a lurker then with this, right? Feels like there should be a lurker then. Feels like this base should not be capable of going up, by the way. Yeah, lurker then is here. Seismic Spines on the way. Okay. Solar needs to get rid of this army. Might actually get a couple of medevacs here, which would be sick. It's gonna get one. Might get two. No. Doesn't get a second one. Just gonna get the single med. Vac. Burrow on the way. Ghost Academy on the way. Both players here entering the early stage of the late game. One more medevac will fall. That was nice there for Solar. This is going to be an important fight. This is going to establish map control for Solar here if he gets this. If he gets this fight. He doesn't. And as Cure will retain map control for now. This position is absolutely key here. Absolutely key. Mine's not available anymore. Baneling's rolling through the Marauders. Can they get connections as a parasitic bomb hits? Hydras will not completely clean this up once more. Queen's getting destroyed in the middle of the map. Once more mines to the rescue here. Cure still in control of two angles here. Pushes forward. Gonna burrow these mines. It's the only thing I can imagine. Splits them, burrows them. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. Move back a little bit. Big mine hit there. There's 3-3 finishing up in a couple of seconds. It's gonna perhaps give him a tiny, tiny timing window. But no. Solar's just pushing all of this back. And now all of a sudden, Solar might be the one that can make some moves. He has a Nidus network on the way. Has Adaptive Talons on the way. +3 Carapace about to finish up. And the first lurkers are morphing. Is that a Ling run by that's moving in towards the third? Is that a Hydra Ling Bane attack that we're seeing? Yes, but at the same time, this is still scary. Lurkers are burrowing defensively. A bit too far back even. This is gonna get cleaned up. Creating space for his main army to start moving out. Where are those Vipers? I don't know. Fusion Core on the way. 2 starports coming out. What do we have? Well, we have a Nidus network. We have a top right side base here. That's going to be the 7th base for Solar. Solar, Solar, Solar. He wants to do something. I don't think he really can. He had a small opportunity there, but wasn't completely secure on that left side quite yet. This base should get taken out as well. There's only 2 Banes really very far forward. Could have targeted that. Instead, just going to pick up Parasitic Bomb's going to get cast. That is -1. I think that's going to die, right? As this one's going to get caught too. That's -2. That is a pretty big deal. What is there defensively right now at this third base? The answer is a planetary. Well, that should be enough, actually. I didn't think there was going to be a planetary there. I thought that double base was going to be significantly more vulnerable. Parasitic Bomb's going to clear this medevac, and the Ling Hydra, or Bane Hydra Ling, is going to clean it up in the end. That's the Nidus network. Overseer, if I've ever seen one. What are these lurkers doing? Just defending for now. Nidus does go down. Let's see how quick our good friend is going to be, Cure. So far, not quick enough. There's a couple of lurkers in that Nidus. At the same time, Solar attacking over here at the third base. It's gonna force a lift off. Nidus goes down in the main. Lurkers popping out. Do we have Liberators in position? No, but Cloak is there. And that should be good enough. First nuke starting as well. Couple of snipes going down. As more lurkers popping out. Actually dealing serious damage here. Okay. This stays alive for a little longer. Solar here. In the main base of his opponent. If a bunch of Hydras pop out of that Nidus now. Could potentially even clear those lips. I don't think those lips have advanced ballistics yet, which is a pretty decently sized error, honestly. Planetary gonna get targeted down. That is big. That is the 6th base of his opponent. Solar right now, 7 bases versus the 5 of Cure. Cure struggling with the gas. Could still take extra refineries. I think he's missing 2 currently over at his 4th base. He's not fully mining here yet either. The 7th gets sniped, so 1 base for 1 base, but Solar still up a base. So probably somewhat okay with it. At the same time though, the army composition for his opponent is getting better and better. Lurkers with a run by, getting a bunch of SCVs. Refinery in trouble. That refinery is actually pretty big. Killing refineries is big because there's no gas. I'm not sure how aware Solar is of the gas problems that Cure have, but there are definitely gas problems. Because I think that main gas is about to mine out. This base isn't really mining gas. Here there's hardly any gas mining. The 4th base has no refineries. I think Cure is... If Cure loses a fight right now, he's dead. Because he just doesn't have the gas to rebuild a serious army. He can build marines, but that's not a serious army. So Cure doesn't want to fight until he establishes good gas mining. He should not want to fight until he establishes good gas mining. He's gonna get an extra refinery. Okay, that's this one though. I think that 4th base gas is probably the safest gas you're gonna get. And he's not getting it. Still no advanced ballistics, by the way. I'm not sure if that's due to a lack of resources or a lack of remembering that he doesn't have it. Hydra's moving in forward. Almost get a kill on that Liberator. Now, I'm not biased, but I'd love to see a 7th game. So let's go Solar. This base needs to be lifted once more. Sensor tower perhaps can get taken out as well. It's a new Nidus network. 5 lurkers. 5 lurkers. Okay. Bioforce moves in forward. I'm liking Solar's position, I think, here. As he moves in. No Vipers, or Vipers too far in the back. No Infestors. Blingbane Hydra. It's gonna force another lift. Clear one of these refineries. Take out a sensor tower. 6 lips on the way at the same time. That's a pretty big deal. But these Liberators don't actually have advanced ballistics, which is also a pretty big deal. Perhaps even a bigger deal. I'd much rather have advanced ballistics than a 6th lip, rather than just 5 and advanced. That's a dead base. Solar's gonna clear it. Can he take out the command center? I think the answer is no. It's gonna be 4 base versus 6, with a 7th base going up on the top right. It's about to finish up. But 4 bases is very, very little right now here for Cure. Because he's not mining out of all of them. And he needs to get some freaking refineries going, let me tell you that much. Can we take a look at the main base here, Mr. Observer? I guess we can't. I mean, that has to be mined out at this point, right? It feels like that has to be mined out. Absolutely. We got a couple extra command centers just being thrown around. Okay, why are we not getting any refineries on our fort? Is a mystery to me. I don't understand that, but it is what's happening. 400 gas being mined a minute. That is the equivalent of 4 medevacs. Nukes going to be thrown down. Let's see how quick Solar is. Solar in the past has struggled with nukes. Not this time though. Let's catch it. It loses the topside base during all of that. At the same time is denying one of his opponent's mining bases. And he's taking the gold in the bottom left while simultaneously teching into a Spire. Potentially for Brute Lords. Ooh. Ooh, I feel like that is an army that's out of position, if anything. That is an army that's out of position, as this medevac almost gets sniped by the Hydra. Parasitic Bomb Boys are trying to move in position. Not quite gonna get there in time, though. Lips moving towards the 3rd. Still no advanced ballistics, which is a blunder at this point. No ship weapons either. I mean, we just don't have gas either, honestly. Like, it's just too little gas. The fact that we're not getting refineries on that 4th base is huge. I can't stress it enough. Big, big blunder here out of Cure. At the same time, we have a big attack coming in towards that 5th. This is a key area here that Solar wants to break. It's not quite capable of doing that yet, though. Has broken the 3rd base. That's also a pretty big deal. That's gas mining we're missing. Still Cure. Denying the gases on his own fort. Saying, no, I don't need those. You're not good enough for me. I only take my gases on the bases that are vulnerable. It's an interesting play. Usually is considered bad. Is he really going to fly a command center to that right side now? That seems optimistic. Naive. Optimistically naive. I mean, there's no way that CC is going to actually survive on the 6th base, right? He's having trouble keeping his 3rd base alive. This I want to see. Good luck, brother. Yeah, what did he think was going to happen there? Solar fell asleep on the keyboard or what? Hope my opponent has a stroke. That's a wild strategy. Okay, finally takes the gases. Holy crap. Takes 3 refineries at the same time. There's a gold mining here for Solar. 12 more links on the way as well. Another deny on this base. Solar's mining neutral bases and Cure is not. I mean, I have difficulty seeing how Cure is going to win this game because he needs to take very, very good trades, but his ghost count isn't very, very good trade level. His ghost count is good trades, good enough trades. That's what this is. Oh, there goes the lip. In a good position. There's still 4.5k in the bank though. That's a lot of damage. Holy crap. 15 drones. Wouldn't surprise me if we got a Hydra or 2 as well. Also was on the top side though, so I guess that's double. Couple of snipes going down. That is a good count of ghosts here. Are there enough lips and enough mines? I think the answer is no. There's no mines here. Lip count also not quite being high enough. So I'm just going to push this back. It's going to remax. And this is completely fine. Killing some stuff, then remaxing while you're outmining your opponent times 3. I like it as a move. I really think that's quite good. The gold is helping Solar out in a huge way. Lurkers being cleaned up, as well as a couple of Hydras. Not quite an ideal fight there for our Zerg player. But this could be an ideal fight. Here we go. That's 1 abduct. That's 2 abducts. And I think 3 is not even necessary. I'm pretty sure you can just run in there. I mean, the mine count is almost non-existent. There's a couple in the back. So we have 2 more on the way. Cyclone holds the watchtower. Wait, what's a Cyclone doing there? I said that like it was a normal thing. But that Cyclone is probably a misclick. Wanted to build a Liberator, accidentally built a Cyclone. And I said, ooh, this was a big mine hit. These were more big mine hits on top of the Overseers, but also a lot of the bio went down here. Liberator's now falling. Ghost count is low. I think Cure is dead. That felt like almost a good enough fight. But then you look at the supply and at the bank still available, and you realize that sucked for Cure. Cure is also getting his own 6th base mined from right now. Solar has built a hatch there saying, hey mate, you're never gonna get there, are you? And Cure isn't even aware of it right now, so Cure can't even respond. Cure's like, what? What are you on about, my 6th? You mean the gold? Solar's like, yeah, sure. Sure, the gold. I mean, Cure isn't even mining from his 3rd base right now. That's the type of position he is in. Which is not a great position. Baneling's moving it forward. Here comes an abduct. Yeah, these Banelings not gonna get the hits they want. Not gonna get the hits they want. At this point it almost feels disrespectful for Cure to stay in. You know? It's like, does Cure really believe he's that much better than his opponent? That he can win? Being outmined. You know, a factor 2. But also being down 70 supply. And being consistently, like, kind of dunked on this game. Like, where does he get the audacity to stay in? You get that at the Terran school. These guys, they have some audacity, let me tell you. Alright. Mines being burrowed, Marauders, Marines guiding back home. As we're... honestly, not a bad start of a fight here, but I think there's just a little bit too much on the side of Solar. 18 SCVs going down. Fungal's now hitting as well as Ghosts are disappearing. GG gets called and Solar ties up the series and forces the final game here in his best of 7. And here we go with that final game. Double Barracks Reaper. coming out of Cure. Back to basic. Back to what he knows best. Solar. Did both games that go to a proper late game go Solar's way? I think the answer is yes, right? I think so. Ooh, Solar mining these minerals. Not sure what he's looking at. He's been doing this, just hiding the drone very far out on the map. That feels extremely inefficient in a way, you know? That was a quick queen, by the way. No? This must have been a 15 hatch of some sort. A very quick queen. Ooh, Evo wall. He also didn't build any links, so he's defending this with pure queen for now. Kind of a cute move. 2 more queens are about to pop. Look at it. It has been spotted that there's a drone here somewhere. Cure's not going to be looking for it too much. He looked around for a little. Then went back home. Actually, the drone wants to build a 3rd base, but it's... I don't know, it just looks wild. It really does look wild. I mean, these boys have done nothing. Nothing of use so far. That's for sure. I just don't understand what the drone is doing on the map. Like, what's it achieving? Being there in the bottom right. It's not like you're gonna get a fast 3rd base with it. Speed not anywhere near being done, by the way. This Reaper still looking for the worker. I feel like you should just ignore it. Just ignore the worker and you'll be fine. I mean, that costs Solar a good amount of cash in my mind. No? Like an entire minute of a worker not working? It's quite a few minerals. It really is. 5 more drones on the way as the 3rd CC is close to finishing up. We're not going to be seeing any Hellions here. Just as... No, never mind. We're going to see some Hellions here. So I guess if it's straight Hellion, we'll see a Lip now. That has been the setup so far, right? Every time Cure has played this build, and he went straight Hellion, he followed it up with a Liberator. Yeah, there we go. Liberator gets set up. As we have a floating barracks. Gonna allow him to clear that Overlord. No more vision for you, my dear friend. It's kind of a big deal. 4 minutes and 33 seconds into the game, we go Lair Baneling Nest. Same thing as last game. Straight into Baneling speed. And you know what? I think this is good. Solar probably realizing that as long as he doesn't take a lot of damage in the early game, as long as he doesn't die to the first Hellbat push, he might actually be the better late game player. And I feel like that last game gave him a lot of confidence, and I think it should give him a lot of confidence. I really think it should, because there were some scary things there in that game. The map isn't that good for Zerg. And yet Solar, you know, he went through the motions and got the W. Right now he's at 56 workers already. I'd love to see a 4th base go down. We have the 3 gases mining here. Like, this is 4th base territory if I've ever seen 4th base territory. And I have. And this is it. We're here. Solar actually likes to get a lot of drones before the 4th, often. Which is kind of wild. I feel like this 4th is late. But let's just see what's going to happen here. Liberator moving in towards the main. Spore in position to get 3 shots off. Instantly moves as well. Quick response out of our Zerg player. Queen in position to potentially deal with some crap too. This is the first time I think where the Lip isn't really in a spot to do anything of serious, you know, serious meaning or serious importance. This 4th base could be in trouble. Queen's not in position. We're gonna see a drop on top of it. We have 9 Banelings on the way. Here come the 4 Hellions and the 2 Reapers, the 3 Reapers. This base is gonna get cancelled. No cancel. No cancel. 3 Reaper, 4 Hellions at the same time moving in. They're gonna get a couple of kills at least. 3. Double medevac moving in towards the main as well. Baneling speed finishing up in 8 seconds. Is that gonna be in time though? Drones need to pull away. The Spore Crawler moves towards the right, but the Lip Siege is up on the left. And that 4th base is gonna get cancelled again because the Queens move out of position now. Liberator will fall, but 7 drones have gone down. Solar in a world of trouble as he's getting out-rotated, outplayed really, with Cure in control of this game so far. 60 workers to 63. Spore now moving in position. Target fire out of the queen was good enough to take out one medevac. The Spore over here is dealing quite some damage. We're gonna need Banelings to deal with this. Banelings are now moving over. But we get a full-on pickup here on all 8 Marines. Hydra then quickly gets built. And we're gonna wait and see how Solar is gonna defend this incoming push, because this looks scary. It really does. There's not a whole lot of creep on the map. There's hardly any creep on the map. We're now gonna get a couple of these tumors being pushed out, but not far enough forward in my mind at least. One finishing up at almost the exact same time. Look at that. Like half a second in between it or so. That's crazy. 1-1 for both players. Finishes up. Instantly starts out of Solar. Poof. Just like that. Bam, bam, bam. Beautiful. Armory wasn't quite in time there for Cure. That's gonna cost him dearly. Gonna have a minor move in here. Yes, no, maybe. I don't know. Triple tanks near a ramp. That's a recipe for Zerg disaster. It's in my mind a recipe that you shouldn't follow. If you're a Zerg, right? If you go into work and you say, I have the worst recipe for some potato soup. I'm sure your co-workers would tell you, just don't use the recipe for potato soup again. This is a recipe for a disaster. Just don't use that recipe, Solar. Just don't let these tanks siege up. Don't let them get there. Solar's gonna try to break it. This is difficult though. It's all off creep at the same time. Double drops on the other side. Micro out of Cure. Subpar. And as a result, Solar gets a good trade. He's gonna lose this base on the left side. Thus getting reduced to 4 bases. Which is what Cure is moving up to right now. As he's flying his 4cc over. Worker count surprisingly close. Another Overlord's gonna get sniped. Solar perhaps in some trouble. This is not a clean late game we're moving into. But I don't think that Cure is gonna be capable of killing his opponent. I just don't... I'm not getting that vibe from this game. Although now that I look at the actual situation... 15 supply. Marine Marauder mine. Not a whole lot of creep on the bottom side. And Solar just needs a 5th base, right? So Solar's gonna need to expose himself off creep in order to, you know, in order to just get the eco that he needs. More tumors here being taken out. Cure should start his 3-3 practically instantly. He has the cash available for it. Has 2 more CCs on the way as well. 2 more Vipers coming out here. Adrenal gland, seismic spines, +3 carapace. Here comes an attack. Without Vipers, this is frustrating because you can't really clean this up. You can push it back, but you can't clean it up. So right now, Cure just hanging around the edge of the creep. Is the last Bane there? No, there's one more. Now 17 extra come in. I think we're finally done. The new ones show up. Seismic Spines finishing up. First Lurka on the way. As this is going to be a key moment for Solar. Can he... Wait, what? I said that was going to be a key moment. And then 3 minutes out of the live stream went missing. And now we have a Nidus in the main base. So that was a key moment, but the key moment didn't do much, except that Solar seems to be in control of the game right now. I'm sorry for that. I don't have the missing 3 minutes. Maybe we can find it, a USB in a bottle somewhere in the Atlantic. This is a good trade though for Solar. Solar in control. Not sure what happened in those 3 minutes, but we can speculate. Lurkers pushed it back. Hydraling Bane got some good trades because Cure decided not to micro. And then Solar got a Nidus up in his opponent's main base and is clearing workers left, right, and center. We have 5 Liberators on the way. That's a lot of Liberators. This is going to get cleaned up. I felt like during that period where those lurkers were in the main base, more damage could have been dealt. Because it was full freedom, right? Cure went back home with basically everything. And I feel like this CC should have died already. I'm not sure if it's still gonna die. I hope it does. I mean, I'm not biased, but it would be cool to see Solar win. I think we've had enough Terrans for now. Ooh. Hydras hitting that CC. Love to see it. Nidus Network finishing up. Banelings crashing in. Will they get some kills? Not really. Not really is the answer. 10 SCVs have gone down. 14 SCVs have gone down. Solar in firm control of this game. In an almost unlosable position right now. Yeah, he's playing a freaking game. Very nice. I mean, the army value, I bet is going to be crazy for Cure. And his army can still grow very big as well. Because he's not building that many workers, but... The thing is that if you attack your opponent and you're fighting on creep... Like, Banelings are just really good. Like, Banelings are just really good at just trading. That is an absolute fact. Where Protoss sometimes really struggles at getting any type of trade, like, Banelings can almost always force a trade against Terran. You can just say, hey, I'm going to get a bad trade, but I'm going to get a trade. So if I'm up in workers, if I'm up in mining by a lot, that would be good enough. Cure really has a big army, though. I'd love to see the overall unit count. But just like those 3 minutes that we just missed, I don't think this observer is going to show us the unit count here. Look how low the medevacts are. No energy on the medevacts. This base is toast. Ah, Solar's playing a sick game. God, I wish I knew what happened. Those 3 minutes seem to be so vital in this game. I'm so sad we missed that. So sad we missed that. Solar here moving in. Now moving out. 5 more libs on the way. This game is not over yet. This game is actually not over. It feels over if you're looking at it, because Solar is mining so much. But that army is huge, man. That is a huge... Oh, no, not so much anymore. We weren't quite set up. And we're also lacking mines. I think mines are vital, especially against higher link counts. Nidus Network going up in... Or Nidus Worm going up in the natural of his opponent. Hydras here dancing in the lip zones, and they're having a good time. Oh, that was a good dance. As Cure here is getting destroyed. I think Solar has this. What a reverse. It wasn't an entire reverse sweep, but holy crap, Solar with an insane comeback, down 1-3. Right? That was 1-3. With that momentum breaker. I hadn't expected this at all. I thought the series was pretty much over. Watching Cure just kind of roll through. Once again, this game, he was in a good spot. He's still in a playable position, don't get me wrong. I don't know what the larva count is, as Solar needs to push him forward. The rate count is insane here. It is crazy. But it's not crazy enough. GG! Solar wins. Look how happy he is. What a series. What a comeback. What a play. Ah, that was really well done. Honest to God, that was sick. I'm so sad we missed those 3 minutes. They just disappeared. Disappeared on the face of the earth. Yeah, these were the scores for today. We're going to continue, as I mentioned, tomorrow. Well, by the time this video is live, it's going to be fairly late. These matches lasted so freaking long. Holy crap. I'm sitting here by myself for 3 hours, it feels like. Yeah, thanks so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. And once again, tomorrow, Maru versus Serral. And Hero versus Raynor. So epic matches. Maybe there's even one more match, but I don't think there is. So yeah, it's going to be it for me today. Thanks so much for watching. Hope you did enjoy it. I hope to see you all tomorrow on the live stream. And otherwise, you can always check, watch back those streams as well on my main channel. As today my internet didn't work, so I had to do it like this. Sorry if you're expecting the live stream, but this is almost as good, isn't it? Thanks, and bye-bye.